Hello, and good morning. I was watching the debates on all the candidates that want to be president, and Ron Paul stands about out above the rest. And the reason I'm raising him up is because his views are for the people. His views are designed to help the economy and to help this nation as a people. But all the other candidates I hear, they want to impose war. They want to keep wasting our money on things that are not even necessary. And us stepping into every country and trying to take all their goods for our benefit, to say these wars were for diplomacy or for helping that nation become a democracy, has got to be a bold lie. Because how are you going to gain the trust of a people when you go into their nation and you just kill and destroy them, and you destroy their way of life? Instead of going in there with the purpose of helping them, I think we went in there with the purpose of destroying them and controlling them. And that's the problem with the world today. Everybody wants to control one another, not allow people to have freedoms. When you keep creating this type of atmosphere, a warlike atmosphere, it doesn't make people submissive. It makes people evil and underhanded and sneaky. And we gotta have another approach. And Ron Paul has that approach. He's the only candidate that I see sitting there trying to do things in a sane, civilized manner, while the other ones are saying, oh, they're such a threat. Realize this: India, China, Pakistan, and the other surrounding countries there are much more of a threat than Iran's little nuclear endeavor. Okay, even if they posed a real threat, yes, we would use military action. We should, but to just make an assumption that we think they're doing something, to create a war out of just an imaginary thought, not good. And we don't need people running the country that are trying to play God. We need people that are going to run the country that are going to take care of people, us in general, the working class, the middle class, even the poor, and teaching us to work together. I think Ron Paul's idea of limiting welfare and limiting defense is a good idea. I'll tell you why. Because when you get people to work together for the common good of one another, instead of depending on the system to control and maintain, the status quo, you need people to come together. And his approach will bring people together, because people will have to work together to achieve a common goal. But as America stands today, we're divided, and there's going to be more crisis if this doesn't happen. If we don't have someone in there with good leadership qualities. Me personally, I think that people should be a ruling class. We shouldn't depend on one executive person, president, to control all the affairs of the world. Because President Bush, he did what he wanted to do. The people said no, and he did it. And we've been saying no to the wars and stuff like that. We have even our servicemen that are coming out saying, look, I didn't want to do the things I did in Iraq. I didn't want to do the things I did in Desert Storm. And then they coming back saying these wars were nonsense. They had no balance or purpose. We were just over there eliminating people we thought were a threat. Who was the true threat? Us or them? And I'm not for bad people. I'm for truth and doing the right thing, and going over there and just taking control of that land and bombing it and killing 500,000 innocent children during their bombing campaigns. That's insane. That's lunacy. The enemy is supposed to be a group of soldiers that you're fighting against, not bombing a city and killing its citizens. That is lunacy. And I've been taught there are countries about patriotism and protecting one another and stuff like that. But how are we protecting our country going into another country and causing havoc and causing so much anger and hate towards us? One of these days, they may enter our foreign soil and cause problems. Diplomacy should be sought first, and not just heavy-handed action and just going into a nation and just doing damage to it. I'm for America. I'm for our government when it's in a stable sense, of stable-minded type of government. And when the people that have the military power make proper judgments to protect our citizens. But to go into other lands and other nations and other countries and just do whatever we want is wrong. They should have freedom of choice, just like we have freedom of choice in America, to make the decisions on how they want to live. That's all I got to say. But I think that if you're smart, you vote for Ron Paul, even though I personally don't think we need someone dictating and telling the people what to do. But for organizational sake, we need someone there. Alright, I'm going to go here. I'm tired a little bit, a little cold in here, but I just wanted to get my point across there that I think Ron Paul would be the right candidate out of all the other candidates, because he's the only one making any real sense, and they're trying to cut him off and put him in issues that he doesn't want to be in. But he's a smart man. He should be president.